I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's our regular meeting of council. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing and hearing none. Would you read the first motion on minutes, please?
Madam Mayor, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Mark, seconded by Councillor Fair, that the minutes of the special meeting of council dated Monday, July the 19th, and the regular meeting of council dated August 16th, 2021 be adopted.
Any questions? If not, would you call the vote?
Councillor Krebitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Mark.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And the next set of minutes? Oh, you did them both together.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
apologize. We have a delegation now. Mr. Perrin, I'm assuming that Christine Van Daele is, there she be. Hey, Christine, it's we'll welcome you as a delegation who wish to speak to us at this point. Please, anyway, proceed.
Thank you, and good evening, Central Elgin Council. My name is Christine Van Daele, and I'm the CEO of Westminster Mutual Insurance Company located in the municipality of Central Elgin in Belmont. I'm here tonight to talk to you about Fire Marque and the decision you have before you tonight. So in a homeowner's insurance policy is a coverage called fire department charges, which is there to pay for any extraordinary costs that are incurred over and above what a fire department would normally cover. So these costs could include the cost to bring in a bulldozer, specialized fire suppression products, etc. Costs for items not normally in the possession and control of the responding fire department. This coverage is there to ensure that when someone suffers a fire loss, that all fire-related costs are covered for them. Many municipalities are struggling financially, so they are looking for any way to get funding without trying to raise taxes for the community that they service. Fire Marque is trying to access the fire department charges coverage in the policies with the thought that if municipalities would change their bylaws so that they can collect fire department charges, then they could access the insurance coverage and could take a cut of the money collected. And they take about 30% of the proceeds from the insurance policy and they make their money off of that cut. So Fire Marque is a company who have approached you with a business proposition to sign up with them to collect fire department charges from the insurance company's policies. So after an individual has a fire, the fire department will send off information to Fire Marque, who will then contact the person who had the fire, and they ask them who their insurance company is. They then bill the insurance company, not the ratepayer, for the fire department charges up to the limit that is allowed under the homeowner's policy. If there is no insurance, there is no bill. So I just want to repeat that. If there's no insurance, there is no bill. So as you deliberate tonight, please consider the following. So first, is this program fair? Is it fair that you have two homes and both have a fire? All the individuals were saved, but only the home who had home insurance got the bill. Second, Fire Marque will not directly bill the taxpayer. They bill the insurance company directly. Will the municipality get grief if the ratepayer pays taxes and also receives a bill for fire services? So three, Westminster Mutual has received bills in the past. As our obligation to any insured is to reimburse for any expenses incurred, the policyholder must receive the bill in their name. So since Fire Marque did not wish to involve the insured directly or the ratepayer directly, no amount was ever paid for insurance. Number four, the bills that we received at Westminster Mutual are for the exact coverage in the policy. It doesn't matter if a huge house burns down or a small house. The invoice is the exact coverage in the policy. The invoices show a total amount of fire costs less the amount covered by the municipality equals the amount the ratepayer owes, which is always the exact amount of coverage on their insurance policy. So in the one example I pulled, the invoice said it was for 4 units totaling 4.42 hours at $410 per hour equals $1,812.20 plus 15 volunteer firefighters at $963 equals $2,775 less $1,775.20 was the amount paid by the municipality equals $1,000 exactly, which was the amount of the coverage at the time of the invoice. None of these expenses were for extraordinary items. They were for the units and the volunteer firefighters. They were just for normal firefighting costs that are meant to be covered through direct taxation. Number 5, the people who buy insurance are the same people who pay taxes. Like, what is the most economical way for that community to get more funding for their fire department? Is it through a program like Fire Marque or through direct taxation? Why pay another company 30% of the potential revenue when that could all be directed to the municipality? Number 6, on the frequently asked questions from Fire Marque's website is the question, will insurance rates go up as a result of the Fire Marque program? And their response was essentially no. What the insurance company considers includes how close is the building to a fire hydrant or a fire station, is the building sprinklered, etc. Fire Marque's response to this question is now outdated since the onset of rating using multiple data sets. Rating is actuarially determined and claims drive premiums. If the insurance company has to pay out more claims, they will charge more premium. So this will increase the premium of your ratepayers. Number 7, coverage wordings are such that this is a reimbursement. There is no obligation on the part of the insurance company to pay that bill unless the insured or the ratepayer pays it first. That's how our coverage works. So are you planning on adding the billing to the ratepayer's tax bill, as some other municipalities have done? Number 8, this has been proposed to you as a process that will not affect nor include your ratepayer. And in fact, this is a triangular process involving the ratepayer, Fire Marque, and the insurance company. The only way your ratepayer will get reimbursed is if they get billed directly. This is not a direct relationship between the municipality and the insurer. Number 9, section 14.2 of your bylaws allows you to invoice the owner of the property for any additional expenses, such as renting special equipment not available on a fire apparatus, etc. I took it right out of your bylaw. And there is currently coverage under our policy for such extraordinary items, but only if the property owner is invoiced directly. The municipality would then receive 100% of these costs as revenue, not 70% as proposed. And these coverage wordings are being changed throughout the industry to cover the payment for extraordinary fire costs only. I'm not sure that this is going to be the funding raise that you hope it to be. And just to kind of finish off, I'm not addressing council today because Westminster Mutual will incur any additional expenses if you go ahead to allow this. We have changed our coverage wording for fire department charges. So very few of these additional billings would qualify for coverage through Fire Marque anyway. The Ontario Mutuals, and especially Westminster and Yarmouth Mutuals and Central Elgin, we've worked very closely and we financially support our local volunteer fire departments. If you have extraordinary fire expenses that are not normal to a fire, come talk to us directly. Like, of course, we want our fire departments to have the funding they need to fight fires. It's in our best interest too. So that's it for thank you for listening. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Christine. Does anyone have a question? If not, we very much appreciate you coming and making that presentation. We'll be dealing with this later in the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on then to correspondent requiring action. This is to do with the Elgin Group Police Services Board. As you realize that, we will be a whole new system is coming in January. So this is just to extend the current board and allow them to complete till the end of December without interruption. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Do you have a motion there? Go ahead.
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Crivets, the correspondence received from the County of Elgin respecting an extension of current Elgin Group Police Services Board contract and received as information.
Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Crivets?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn? Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Resolution carries.
I asked them to change what was the original letter said to dear Mayor. I said, well, I feel really silly sending a letter to myself. So I said, put Mayor and Council to make it a little more acceptable. Okay, now we have several items for information. Does anyone have anything there they wish to speak to? Seeing nothing, would you read the motion then?
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Cravitz, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that correspondence items number 1 through number 4 inclusive be received as information and filed.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Central Elgin Planning Office reports. The first one, CEP 3821 to do with 45561 Elm Line. Any questions on this one? Seeing not, go ahead and read the motion, please.
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Fair, that report CP 3821 be received and that council has no objections to consent application E6521, James and John Crane, 45561 Elm Line, subject to the following recommended conditions: approval of a zoning bylaw amendment to prohibit residential dwellings on the retained lot, written confirmation from a licensed well installer that a well has been constructed on the severed lot and provides the quality of potable water required by provincial standard. A copy of the reference plan be provided to the municipality of Central Elgin and a drainage reassessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. And the next one, 3921 is to do with 44581 Elm Line, which is dividing farmland, but still within the size that is allowed. Any questions? Now, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Cravitz, that report CEP 3921 be received for information and that council has no objections to consent application E6621, Pin Hill Farms, 44581 Elm Line, subject to the following recommended conditions: the payment of cash in lieu of the dedication of 5% of the land for parkland purposes, the municipality of Central Elgin provided with a copy of the reference plan, and a drainage reassessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense.
Thank you. Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. And then the third one, CEP 4021 to do with 44598 Dexter Line. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, go ahead and read the motion, please.
Motion reads, moved by Councillor Cravitz, seconded by Councillor Fair, that report CP 4021 be received for information and that council has no objections to consent application E6921, Lawrence Parker and Sons Limited, 44598 Dexter Line, subject to the following recommended conditions: approval of a zoning bylaw amendment to prohibit residential dwellings on the retained lot, a copy of the reference plan be provided to the municipality of Central Elgin, and a drainage reassessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense.
Thank you. Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Okay, now through the Chief Administrative Officer, there's one on the Environmental Advisory Committee amending its terms of reference. You have read that. It stems from the fact that we did have a representative from Catfish and Kettle, and the young lady that was the representative of Catfish no longer works for Catfish, but she's been doing an incredible job with posting to Facebook and Instagram and doing all kinds of videos, et cetera, for us, for the committee. And so we would not like to lose her. So that's why Councillor Rowe had requested that we change the things so that she could be a member at large.
I just want to say it was a great idea because her posts
do get noticed, and she does do a fantastic job, so.
Yes, Ranger M is someone I wouldn't want to lose. Would you read the motion, please, then?
Certainly. Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Fair, that reported CO 4721 REIT Environmental Advisory Committee's amended terms of reference be received for information, and that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin approve the amendments to the Environmental Advisory Committee terms of reference, and further that Emily Fabre be appointed as public representative for the remainder of the 2018-2022 term of council.
Thank you. Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook,
yes,
Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Resolution carries.
Thank you. And now we're to the Director of Infrastructure and Community Services reports. ICS 2821, the transition to Blue Box and full producer responsibility. Having read that, does anyone have any questions concerning that? It's been interesting seeing how the Prouts were going to move forward with this because it's been in the works for quite a while. My biggest concern is I just hope it doesn't mean that some people don't recycle them, they put things in the garbage instead. Councillor Kravitz.
I just found it quite interesting. I don't know what page is, page 10, the map showing the areas that are starting in 2023. And I'm glad to see that we are one of the ones that started on this early rather than waiting another 2 years to jump onto the program.
Yes, and we had requested starting in 2023. So yes, that was good to see that we got what we requested. Okay, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Kravitz, that report ICS 2821 retransition of the Blue Box to full producer responsibility be received for information.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook,
yes,
Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Now the Energy Conservation Demand Management Plan. You probably had a chance to read it. This did come before the Environment Committee who endorsed it. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, would you read the motion, please?
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Kravitz, that report ICS 2921 Ontario Regulation 50718 broader public sector energy reporting and conservation demand management plans be received for information, and that the energy reporting and conservation demand management plan be posted on the municipal website in accordance with Ontario Regulation 50718.
Thank you. Call the vote, please.
Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook,
yes,
Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes.
The resolution carries.
And now these other two, these ones are bylaws that we're trying to get things so that they run efficiently and we have a bylaw so we know exactly where things stand. So this first one is the encroachment bylaw. Does anyone have any questions about it? Councillor Fair.
Yes, I don't remember council ever asking to get this done, but we do have an issue with the DNO and Don Neville that's been outstanding. I know July 2nd, he had to report back and there was a decision supposed to be made there. And I know his lawyer has contacted and had no response. So before we start with these bylaws, I think we should be addressing the prior business that these may be motivated from.
Go ahead, Mr. Perrin.
Through you, Madam Chair, actually, council is aware that there is an agreement in place. Council passed an authorizing bylaw to execute a site plan agreement as well as the encroachment agreement. So that was already previously done by council. Those amending agreements were finally provided to staff and executed and registered on property titles. So that we don't believe as staff there's any outstanding issues. Council's already given us direction to execute both of those agreements.
Councillor Fair.
I wasn't aware of that. I did check and they said that they hadn't got notification. So that's why I was asking. But if it's done, that's excellent.
To you, Madam Mayor, if I may, I think over the next little while, council will be presented with a number of regulatory bylaws, a number of policies. And that stems from two things, and it ties into council's strategic priority about effective governance. What we're trying to do is bring forward modernized policies for council consideration so that when an issue comes forward, every person who has that same issue gets treated fairly in a standardized council manner. So the encroachment bylaw stemmed from that. As we've gone and digitized a number of old agreements and old practices, we can find ways to enhance that so that we provide more positive outcomes for the community. And having these tools in place allow us to more effectively deal with those requests and situations when they come forward versus having to deal with it on the spot, bring it to council, be directed to look at it and come back again. So over time, as we modernize our regulatory practices, we should be able to deliver more positive outcomes to the community for council.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Would you read the motion, please? I'm sorry. I apologize.
No,
Deputy Mayor
I
Mark.
just wanted to thank staff for that explanation. That helps. What did I do?
Go ahead and read the motion. We'll give
Madam Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Marks a chance to get his.
Councillor Fair, second by Councillor Cravitz. That report ICS 3021 re-encroachment bylaw be received as information and that staff be directed to bring forward the encroachment bylaw for council consideration.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Cravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
yes,
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn? Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes,
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
The resolution carries.
And the next one is the road care use and entrance bylaw, similar type of thing, just making sure that we treat everyone equally and fairly. Any questions on this one? If not, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, second by Councillor Cravitz, that report ICS 3121 re-comprehensive road care use and entrance bylaw be received for information and that staff be directed to bring forward this comprehensive road care use and entrance bylaw for council consideration.
Thank you. Call the vote.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
yes,
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
yes,
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
The resolution carries.
Okay, and we have nothing from Director of Financial Services, so we're at Director of Fire Rescue Services, our fire chief, and the first one is the Fire Marque deferred one from the August meeting. So obviously, we haven't signed a motion one way or another. So is there any questions or discussion? You did give us some areas to look at and to do some research. So I know that Councillor Rowe did, and I'm sorry she's sick tonight, but she said she'd join us if she was absolutely needed, but she isn't. So just hope she gets better. Deputy Mayor Marks.
I appreciate the delegation. I would like to ask, we have a recommendation from the fire chief, and he, I think, heard the same delegation. I wonder if he has any change his mind, or if his recommendation still stands, because I am relying on his opinion very much.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Ormerod, if you would like to speak to this and why you recommended it.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Marks. In the past, other municipalities I've been engaged with have utilized this service. I know it can be a contentious service. My aspect is to find cost savings and to be able to operate fiscally responsible. There are times within the insurance aspect where to have a member of our staff try to track those additional costs down for to be able to receive those funds will be time consuming. I recognize it's a 30% take that the company takes. I guess at this point in time, that's 30% less than what we're getting. We're not getting the 70% at this point in time. Thank you.
Other questions? Councillor Kravitz.
I did have a chance to look into the Fire Marque and did a bit,
Mark.
or Fire Marque and Fire Marque, and did talk to a few different insurance companies. There was some insurance companies that were opposed to it that I did talk to, thinking that there was a double billing system going on, but yet others were even unfamiliar of the potential wages that were, or items that were lost in a claim. So I'm pretty confident, but I'd like to, I don't want to go into this completely blind, but I'd like to have a 1-year review of this Fire Marque if it's adopted, and to see what the benefit was, if that can be brought to council if we do adopt it.
Thank you. Councillor Wynn.
So based on Chief Amarad's report, I guess my issue is having responded to 23 fires, how many of those fires had extraordinary circumstances that this billing would fall under? Because it's only those extraordinary circumstances where bulldozers or those additional equipment would come into use. And actually, as was stated, our bylaw allows us to do that already. So first, I guess I'm concerned, how many of these fires are we having that we're having a hard time tracking down that information to invoice? My other problem is, as I had stated previously, if we're owed money for services, we collect it. If it's water, we don't say to someone, how much are you able to pay, and take that and write off the rest of it. If you owe $5,000 to a water bill, you pay $5,000 to a water bill. So why in this case are we okay to say, you owe us $5,000, but if your coverage only pays $1,500, we'll take that. And if you have no coverage at all, well, we'll just write off the whole amount. So again, my problem is if I have a ratepayer who comes to me who says, I have coverage, so I have to pay, but my neighbor won't have to because they don't carry that coverage. So again, as a municipality, I think we have a bigger issue of missed revenue that we're not even worried about, as opposed to just getting this 70%. But again, it is, as was stated earlier, people had been invoiced for services that were covered under taxation. How do we justify that? I guess is my issue, because if we bring this program in and that question is posed to me, I have to have an answer from this municipality. I have to be able to answer for this municipality on that, and I don't have an answer for that.
Mr. Ormerod, I would like you to respond to that if you would. She asked a couple of questions about how much, above and beyond what we pay through taxes, the service that, so I'm assuming things we pay through taxes are not charged extra.
You would be correct in that, Madam Mayor. With regards to the number of fires that were listed in the previous report, that was prior to my coming here. So to be able to know exactly what those fires were and what the amounts were that were beyond the norm, it's difficult for me to state. With regards to that, there will be, I can make an assumption from my previous experiences with other municipalities, we end up having a larger fire where we do have to call in, say, an excavator to help mitigate some of the fire risks. As you had mentioned, excuse me, Councillor, with regards to a bulldozer, things such as that. There are times where there are extraordinary costs. I will attest to that. I know in the past there have been exceptional times where the crews have to stay an extended period of time. If we look at a barn fire, for example, where we may be there for 2 or 3 days, again, an extenuating circumstance. So there are times, yes, when there are extenuating circumstances, and some of those extenuating circumstances, when you look at that, could be refilling of our air supplies cylinders that we would do on a normal basis, but because of the extended duration, we're having to refill those more often. So sometimes those can be invoiced as well.
Mr. Armour, there's one question I would ask, and that was when Mrs. Van Daele made her presentation. She said that Fire Marque directly bills the insurance company, not the ratepayer. And I was curious about that, because I would have assumed the bill would go to the ratepayer and they would then get their insurance company to cover it. So I just am curious for direction on that.
From my understanding from the previous experience was that Fire Marque does bill directly to the insurance company. There are times when the insurance company will reply back to Fire Marque, I believe, and request the municipality speak directly to the insurance holder.
Okay. So it depends on how the insurance company responds to it,
I believe
whether
so.
the other, okay. Other questions? Deputy Mayor Marks.
I thought Councillor Kravitz had an excellent suggestion to try this for a year and then review it. I'd support that.
Anyone else have any comments, questions? So you you have a motion to adopt it, but can you amend it then to, if Deputy Mayor Marks is making that motion? Or you second, all right. And Councillor Kravitz, you're seconding that motion then? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mr. Shipway.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, just for clarity, I think the resolution as is would suffice because a bylaw would have to come back.
Okay,
Like council would have to vote on at that point in time. And staff would need to follow up on the provisions of making the agreements of the 1 year and what that would look like. So we can bring that back if council does choose to pass this resolution.
thank you. Okay, so we'll leave the resolution as it stands, and it's when the bylaw comes that we can add the term limit. Would you read them? Are you willing to move it as it stands then?
Yes.
And Councillor Kravitz?
Yep, that's.
Go ahead and read the motion then.
The motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, second by Councillor Kravitz, that report FS 1021, read Fire Marque Inc. be received as information, and that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Fire Marque Inc. enabling the recovery of operating costs at structure fires through insurance coverage for fires for council consideration.
Call the vote.
Oh, actually, Mayor
I'm
Marks,
sorry, yes,
sorry, before the vote, I'd just like to make a statement.
certainly.
At the last meeting with regards to this issue, I let my passion for this issue get the better of me. And I engaged in some derogatory comments that I'm not proud of. So I'd like to take the time now. Unfortunately, I was not the only one who made a derogatory comment that night. And I was angry because of the comment that was made. And of course, going home, I thought, little hypocritical because you started it. And it's our passion that brings us to this position. It's our passion for our municipality and the issues that bring us here, but we do have to keep ourselves in check. We do have to hold ourselves to a higher behavior when we are representing the municipality. So I would like to apologize first to Fire Marque for my comments to them. and to the council and staff, and of course, our ratepayers for those comments. I'm not proud of it. It's also something that will not happen at this horseshoe again. Thank you for giving me the moment.
Thank you. Would you call the vote then? Pam?
Counselor Cravitz,
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair,
No,
Counselor Wynn,
No,
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
Mayor Martin,
Yes,
2, the resolution carries. Madam Mayor.
thank you. Now we're into the Director of Asset Management and Development Services. We're looking first at the environmental work plan for the Fort Stanley Harbor West Side. I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot the monthly alarm. I apologize. Storm Rod, I forgot your report on monthly activities. Does anyone have any questions on the fire activities? Go ahead, Councillor Fair.
I don't think it's, I don't know if it's in this period. I don't think so, but that terrible accident that happened on Belmont Road with that, our fire truck being involved in that. I heard rumors that that truck was being sold, and we were just, as council, we were just told that it was a necessity to get it less than 2 years ago. And I'm wondering if that's correct, that it is being sold, and what's going on with that fire truck.
Go ahead, Mr. Shipway.
To you, Madam Mayor, council has not given any direction for that apparatus to be sold. At any given time, municipalities may ask to see our vehicles. Not a lot of municipalities have an aerial, but for an asset of that type to be sold or disposed of, it require council approval beforehand.
sorry.
Yes.
Just
Go ahead,
on
Councillor.
that, was there any update with regards to what happened Friday?
To you, Madam Mayor, not at this time. I don't believe, Chief, is there anything you'd like to add, or because it's ongoing investigation at this time, you don't have anything to add?
You're correct. It is still an ongoing investigation at this point.
Could you tell us how severe the damage was to our truck? Or do you know?
At this point in time, we do not know. I've been contacted by the insurance company. They wish to send an appraiser out to have a look at it. We anticipate sometime later this week or early next week, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Fair.
The only other question I had in relation to that, I just wondered why we didn't use the DNO towing, and we had a company come from Woodstock to tow that. It just seems unusual that we would have someone from way out of our district do that when we have a business in this municipality that is quite well qualified to handle that.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Fair. That evening, my understanding, the tow company that did do the removal is a local company. However, they had to have the vehicle that did come in. My understanding was from Woodstock. I was there on scene when I saw the Woodstock vehicle come in. I know there were a couple of phone calls made by other members of the department to try and locate companies within Central Elgin that had the ability to lift that heavy of a vehicle and tow that heavy of a vehicle. I am aware that at one point in time, they were unable to contact one of the companies. I cannot tell you exactly which company that was, but I can look into that if you would like.
Thank you. Yes, I have had one other company besides the company you mentioned that has complained a lot that they're not getting any calls, so. I don't know. I do know the OPP are looking into that. Yes.
Okay, I just know that this particular company has the largest, one of the largest pieces of equipment in the area, and they handled the steel that was on number 3 highway. And I do know they did attend the scene and were told that they weren't needed.
And that just for your information, I know the Ontario Police, so they all listen in on the calls, which technically they are not supposed to be listening in on the calls and responding without being called. But that is happening. You know, that many of them are doing that. That is not unique. But I will say, just for your information, then the OPP are coming out with a new way to call towing companies when the OPP have to respond to a call where they're needed. They will be all licensed, so they have to prove they have certain capability to do things. Then they will be given a license to be one of the official ones that the OPP can call. They will be put on a list in an order. And so the first person on the list will be called. Once they've responded to a fire, then the second one or whatever, an accident, whatever, then the second one gets the next call. So they're going to make sure that everyone gets equal number of calls and that it's fair. Because at the moment, it's that whoever is in the accident can actually make a request to which towing company they want. And they're going to take that away because sometimes it's just the best known name and it doesn't necessarily mean. So the OPP are going to try and make it fair so that every towing company, if they're licensed and capable of doing it, are going to be on that list. And that will be hopefully out the 1st of January. That they're coming out right now with the licensing information so that the towing companies can register to be licensed. I'm aware of that through the police services board, so. Any other questions? You have the motion for the alarm.
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, second by Deputy Mayor Marks, that report FS 1121, remark the alarm activity August 2021 be received for information.
Thank you. Call the vote.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Resolution carries.
Thank you. Now the Director of Asset Management and Development Services. We're looking at the Port Stanley Harbor West Side Phase 2 Environmental Work Plan. Do you have any questions for Mr. Perrin? Go ahead, Councillor Kravitz.
Just in the recommendation, it's that be funded from the Harbor Fund Interest Program. Seeing these aren't specific harbor lands, is there any way this designation can be identified in another way in our, like within the finance department? I don't know why this is coming directly out of the harbor funds. That'd be my question. I don't know who could answer that.
Go ahead, Mr. Perrin.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the way the transfer order is structured with Transport Canada is that any interest from the initial contribution can be spent as council sees fit. When the municipality took over ownership of the harbor in 2010, what was conveyed by the council of the day was that any funds for the interest would go towards harbor work. And these lands are contiguous to the harbor. And that's why staff are recommending that it comes from the interest from those funds. The interest is not confined by the transfer order. However, since the lands that the work is being undertaken on is adjacent to the harbor and it's within the harbor secondary plan, that's why staff are recommending to come from that area.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted an explanation of that. Thank you, Mr.
Any other questions? If not, would you read the motion, please?
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Cravitz, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that report AMDS 3321, report Stanley West Harbor Lands Phase 1 and 2 environmental site assessments be received for information, and that council appoints Stantec Consulting Limited to undertake Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental assessment for the Port Stanley West Harbor Lands, JRI and Lakes Terminals for a total cost of $156,200, exclusive of HST, to be funded from the Harbor Fund Interest Program.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
The resolution carries.
Thank you. We're now looking at the building report. This is report 3421. Do you have any questions or comments to make? Seeing none, go ahead and read the motion, please.
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Kravitz, that report AMDS 3421, re-August 2021 monthly building and bylaw report be received for information.
Call the vote, please.
Counselor Cravitz,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
yes,
Counselor Fair,
Yes.
Counselor Wynn,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Now the waterfront master plan consultation procurement. Questions or comments? We're hoping to get this done so that this is in place before this council is finished. Would be really nice to have things tidied up. It was part of our strategic plan. Would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Counselor Cravitz, that report AMDS 3521, report Stanley Waterfront Master Plan, Design Services Procurement, we receive this information, and that council approve the terms of reference of the request for proposal for the completion of the Waterfront Master Plan.
Call the vote.
Counselor Cravitz,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
yes,
Counselor Fair,
Yes.
Counselor Wynn,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Resolution carries.
Thank you. We're now at bylaws. Is there any bylaw that we need to take out at all? They're all okay with, go ahead and read them. I know the one is only going to be on third reading.
Correct. The McCready drain.
Yes,
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Counselor Fair, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that bylaws 2635, 2636, 2637, and 2638 be read a first and a second time.
all those in favor or call, sorry. You have to do recorded vote, sorry.
Counselor Cravitz?
Yes.
Counselor Cook?
yes,
Counselor Fair?
Yes.
Counselor Wynn?
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Third reading.
The next motion, Madam Mayor, moved by Counselor Cravitz, seconded by Counselor Fair, that bylaws 2615, 2635, 2636, 2637, and 2638 be read a third time and finally passed.
Call the vote.
Counselor Cravitz?
Yes.
Counselor Cook?
yes,
Counselor Fair?
Yes.
Counselor Wynn?
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
That resolution carries.
thank you. I do not see any public notices, so we have a sample signage to prohibit overnight camping. We've been having an issue down in the parking lots by the berm with campers parking there all night. So,
knocking on their door in the morning when I walk by with the dog.
various people have complained, are concerned, and this will just give our bylaw officers more teeth. Yes,
Just with this camping prohibited, can the people be fined for parking down there?
Mr. Perrin?
Through you, Madam Mayor, a camper can park there, however, cannot camp, so it can't be overnight. That's the intent. If someone comes into town and needs to park, they're no different than any other vehicle. They can park there, but in the evening, they have to go somewhere else.
But they can't leave it there overnight even though it's unoccupied.
Or theoretically, they could leave it as long as they're not camping it.
So there's no one.
If someone is traveling across the province and decide that they want to stay in a hotel that evening, they have to be able to park somewhere. They may not necessarily be able to park in the hotel parking lot. They can park there.
Okay. Councillor Kravitz.
Just with the boondocking that's happening down Port, there's some municipalities that actually take advantage of that boondocking where they, draw lines in the parking lot and charge people to park there overnight. I don't know if there's any appetite for this.
Go ahead, Mr. Perrin.
That is entirely up to council's discretion. That Councillor Kravitz is absolutely correct. There are other municipalities that do allow that. I had the opportunity to be in Owen Sound week before last, and I can tell you that there's probably no less than probably 200 campers in all of the Owen Sound waterfront. I have photos I can share with you if you like. Not so sure that's the magnitude that we'd like to go to as a municipality, but that is an opportunity that if council wishes, it it would clean it up to allow for a designated number and the municipality to get revenue.
That's
And
private.
the reason I say, I get numerous times I've been down in Port this summer and have taken lots of photos of campers. I don't know if it's a new thing I'm doing now, but it's quite ridiculous, like where they are camping. And if we were to look into doing something like this, we could designate an area, keep them off of the waterfront, because where they predominantly park is right along the harbor wall. And if they're not parking there, they're at the Little Beach parking lot. And these are the places that they're going, rather than going somewhere interior on the berm until something is done to the berm. It could be a temporary measure we could put in place to try to keep them away from certain areas.
Councillor Wynn?
Well, and I would agree and hoping, because I see it probably on a daily basis. And I have to say, I can't say that, I just know they're there and they shouldn't be, but it's not that anything else is happening. I wouldn't say that it's untidy or I've witnessed anything like that. So with that respect, I would agree that it would maybe be to our benefit to designate. And then bylaw would have an opportunity to deal with the tent that is staying on Little Beach every night, because they wouldn't have to worry about all the campers. They could concentrate on that one little tent that seems to stay every night on Little Beach.
It seems to be a fairly recent thing. We had one person during the early COVID one that was traveling back and couldn't cross the border into his, to go home. And we managed to find a location where he could go and camp until he'd done the 2-week isolation thing. And because we did enforce that and didn't allow him to stay down there. But I have noticed every time I've been in Port, there are a fair number of them down there now. So what's your will your wish as a council? Do we want, do we want to just prohibit them, period, which is what we had been doing? Or do we want to take advantage? My concern would be this sewage treatment, and do we have to supply anything? Because most campgrounds have to. Yes.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think right now staff are responding to an influx of bylaw complaints that have been forward seeking attention to. Council has previously provided staff direction to consolidate and update the traffic bylaw. Council could provide additional direction, and staff with planning and legal could investigate the implications of designating a certain area that would permit camping and what sort of things have to be considered, and include within that report those details so that council's making a fully informed decision, if you'd like.
I think that's a good idea. I just know that, sitting on the Catfish board, I know we run campgrounds and you can't have them without washrooms and pump stations and all that. So that was my concern. And I know I have had several calls and emails from people in Port Stanley who are very concerned with the number of campers that are staying there all night, camping in these campers. Councillor Wynn.
I appreciate Mr. Shipway's explanation there, and we would very much like to see that. I just had a point and it just completely left my head.
You'd like staff to look into it for future. I would say this year we put the sign up.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that I don't think it's something that we require at this moment, being at the end of the season, but if it was something that we were able to look at before next season, that would be fantastic. And we've got plenty of time in between for staff to put it, prioritize it as they see fit.
Okay.
Not very high.
Okay, are we? Deputy Mayor Marks.
I'm in favor of putting the sign up prohibiting it. I find it very hard to envision us coming up with a business case where we could actually make money. And I think staff are plenty busy now, so I wouldn't pursue this with much enthusiasm.
I'm in total agreement with you. I think we just need the sign up there. Because we want that area for parking for people using room, et cetera, at least for now. We have a motion, Mrs. Wilson, or,
Do,
okay, do you have a mover and seconder?
do.
Yeah.
The motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Cravitz, that council authorize the erection of signage to prohibit camping on municipal property pursuant to section 20 subsection 19 of parking bylaw EG 1.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook. My apologies, could you repeat? Councillor Cook, yes? Or me?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can now.
No, you just muted again.
I read her lips. She said yes.
No.
Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Now, is there any other business that anyone wishes to bring up? Councillor Wynn?
yes, I would like to send out a sincere thank you to our Belmont firefighters, our municipal staff. And actually, I should say just our firefighters, because I'm not sure if it was just Belmont who responded. To our municipal staff and to Earth staff for their help with the cleanup in Belmont today. Belmont, I'm still not sure what Belmont was hit with last night, but we seem to be a target for tornadoes in the last couple of years. So I'm sure if that's what did take place last night, the debris today was unbelievable, and the amount of mature trees that were lost is sickening. Actually, it is so disappointing to see that. But the way that our staff responded, Earth staff responded, helping the community like neighbors helping neighbors, it was fantastic to see after such a devastating event happening. So yes, sincere thanks to send out to them. And also on that note, I had spoken to a couple people who did have trees that had come down and had hit various items on the property. And so they have to wait for insurance to come out first before they can start cutting things up. They had noticed today that, of course, with everybody being out, our staff had been going along and picking up this debris and off of properties that was being put at the end of property, and we're picking it up. They were wondering if that's something that we would be continuing doing in the next week or so, so that as they're able to start getting rid of this debris, if we would still be coming around to get rid of it for them.
Mr. Brooks, can you respond to that? Would we continue to pick it up once their insurance companies have had a chance to evaluate the damage?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Wynn. Staff have been out in Belmont working throughout the night last night and there today again. And the intent was to spend the next couple days cleaning up, and then we would be off-site and on to other things. There is an expense to all the cleanup there, and if council wishes to continue that service for a period of time, it can be considered by staff.
Could it just be an on-call basis? Could it be that the people who are waiting insurance things could just let the municipality know when they're ready?
I would suggest it wouldn't be an on-call service, as there were more efficient ways to do these things. If council wished to wait, I'm not sure how long it would take for the insurance companies to get back, but maybe it could be a weekly thing here for the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
On
Yes,
a
Councillor
Friday
Kravitz.
morning.
I just wonder, Mr. Brooks, is there any way that the insurance company would reimburse the municipality like a Fire Marque program for a tree that has fallen on personal property. I don't know that.
I believe the way it would work is the homeowner would need to make the claim for the insurance. Therefore, they would, if they are being compensated for the removal of that tree, they would be responsible to hire their own contractor and submit the invoice to the insurance company.
Councillor Wynn?
Just on that note, I did also mention that there are people that I spoke to today as well who are also interested in that debris. So I do feel that if people put that debris to the end of their street, they may wake up in the morning and notice that it has all been taken away. So, you know, just depending on the size of trees and branches, people do like to collect that for their firewood as well too. So there may not be an issue with removing it.
I'm sorry that Belmont were hit again. It was quite the storm last night, and I was just very thankful in Sparta that we didn't get any really strong winds. We just had a lot of rain, but lots of lightning and thunder off in the distance. Just a couple of things to do with Belmont. I promised certain gentlemen that I would let council and staff know. He was saying the agricultural community are not happy with the walkway in Belmont because it's 2 lanes and they've had to sit and wait with their wide tractor who won't fit in 1 lane only for quite a while for the traffic from the other direction to get through before they can go through. And so they were saying this gentleman wanted everyone to be aware that farming or agriculture is our major employer in Central Elgin. And we didn't really consider them when doing the walkway. And I tried to explain why it's 2 lanes and that it meets all the requirements, that we had to narrow it at that point. They thought it should have been 4 lanes. I said, no. He said, there are lots of 4-lane walkways. I said, only at stoplights, not in the middle of a street. So that was one. And then one other one, I did get a query today asking, when would the curbs be finished? And I said, I would try to find out. So Mr. Perrin, do you know when the curbs are going to be finished on our walkway?
Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Brooks would know. Okay.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'll have to get back to you on that. Our manager of capital projects is looking after that, so I can get an update from him in the morning and let you know. It should be here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they just were concerned that it seemed to be taking quite a while to finish the curbs. So thank you. If you would let me know, I'd appreciate it. Go ahead.
Still on the crosswalk. I have also I've heard so many wonderful things about the crosswalk. I sympathize with the agricultural community, but that is it was a safety issue within Belmont proper that needed to be addressed. And it I believe will, and even more so with large farming equipment there, slow down traffic in that area. That intersection was a problem anyways with vehicles going around illegally to get around cars turning. So it eliminates that issue from happening right there, which is very important and one of our major duties to ensure the safety. So
I just promised this gentleman that I would make sure that council were aware of it.
One of the other things, though, that I have heard from a few people is with regards to people blowing through that crosswalk, even when the lights are on. And what I was wondering, and I hate that I have to request this, but is there signage that, like, new crosswalk for the north and south end of Belmont Road on either side that we could put up in the time being so that people have another method of recognizing that there is a crosswalk there. So if they're not seeing the lights, at least there's a sign there to make them look and see whether somebody's crossing. I said, I hate that we have to keep doing additional things. If you're in your car driving, pay attention. That's what your job is at the time. So, but unfortunately that doesn't work all the time. So if there's additional signage that we could put up for a short time, I think it would be appreciated by the residents for safety.
Mr. Brooks, I'll let you respond to that.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Wynn, staff will look into that and review it.
Thank you.
I believe Deputy Mayor Marks, yes, you can speak.
Madam Mayor, I've heard nothing but praise from a lot of residents in Belmont area about the crosswalk. I've actually heard from a lot of Central Elgin farmers who are quite pleased with it. I did hear from one disgruntled farmer from Thames Center, but I assured them that majority would rule. So
I just promised council that I would let you know. Gentlemen, I would let you know.
I told them the same thing. If I may add one other quick thing.
Certainly.
Late Friday night, I had a phone call, had actually two phone calls, and I'll pass it on to you, and I have the numbers, I don't have them right here. I was a bit distracted. My daughter got married Saturday, so I was kind of chaotic and busy, but I just remembered this on the way in. The toll monument. Some of us know where toll monument is up on Old Lyndhurst.
Yeah, it's actually a grave marker of.
Yeah, and anyway, staff from Lyndhurst Friday called me and said that a relative of, actually his last name was Toll, from Michigan, had come down and visited. And then later on that night, he actually called me. Apparently, the monument, the marker is in danger of toppling, or there's quite a bit of erosion. So he was bringing it to my attention. So I'm passing it on maybe to our historical committee to maybe look into it. Because he's, from the sounds of it, he's looking for me, bring it to our attention, see whether we could remediate or what. I don't know the damage, but I just wanted to, before I forgot, so.
Because we did, the Municipal Heritage Committee did put a historical sign there explaining that it was up in there, and the county didn't want that sign very close to the road. They didn't want people stopping.
Yeah.
But we did explain, because you have to walk, it's on Wellington Road, and you have to walk way up the hill to get to where this monument is. It was on their farm, and it does, the Tolls were the original settlers in Lyndhurst.
So someone could follow up on that.
Yeah, we actually have a meeting here coming up, so I don't know if staff want to have a look at it. Mr. Perrin?
Through you, Madam Mayor, staff did have a conversation with this individual.
Okay.
Not from the Lyndhurst variety, but the relative, and advised that we would be reviewing it.
So good. So
Thank you.
thank you for that.
Okay, any other new business? If not, we have a motion to move into closed session. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Shipway, didn't mean to cut you out.
No, through you, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to give council the opportunity. You had indicated you wanted to pass a resolution about the dangerous dog. I believe Ms. Wilson has a resolution prepared, if you'd like.
Get him out of jail.
You have one ready, Mrs. Wilson?
Oh, sorry.
Communication there. Yes, we did say we'd bring it up under new business.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I have one prepared. So,
You have one
yeah.
prepared, okay.
The draft resolution for council consideration based on what you said before, that staff be directed to obtain a legal opinion considering amendment to the dangerous dog designation bylaw to permit the removal of a dangerous dog or potentially dangerous dog designation upon satisfaction of predetermined criteria for council consideration.
Good.
Fine.
Sorry, could I just have it one more time, please? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no apologies. That staff be directed to obtain a legal opinion considering amendment to the dangerous dog designation bylaw to permit the removal of a dangerous dog or potentially dangerous dog designation upon satisfaction of predetermined criteria for council consideration.
And so that covers that would cover anybody previous, right? I guess that's my only thing is
If we
that
go.
that would cover previous to us passing that, if we did.
That would be at the direction of council. What I would say this contemplates is getting a legal opinion and bringing that back to council for consideration. And that would include how you would apply it either at time of or for all and ever.
Okay, thank you.
Someone like to make that? Counselor Wynn, do we have a seconder? Counselor Fair,
It's on my computer, so you can call it.
Stand aloud.
just stamp a blank one there that you can write dangerous dog or something. Go ahead and call the vote, Mrs. Fox.
Counselor Cravitz,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Fair,
Yes.
Counselor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Now the motion to move into close, please. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Shipley.
Motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Counselor Cravitz, the council proceeding to close session at 8:31 p.m. in order to address matters pertaining to position plan procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. A proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Call the vote, please.
Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn.
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Give Mr. Perrin a chance to,
Washroom break or
as well.
already
Motion
there.
reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Counselor Fair, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, the council adjourn from closed session and return to open session at 8:51 p.m.
Call the vote.
Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn.
yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. And now the tenets of the closed session, motion.
Counselor Cravitz, seconded by Counselor Fair, that closed session item number 2 be received and the staff proceed as directed by council.
Go ahead and call the vote. then.
Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
That resolution carries.
next resolution, please.
Next resolution, moved by Counselor Cravitz, seconded by Counselor Fair, that closed session item number 3 be received as information. Further, that pursuant to section 2 of bylaw 117, the sale and disposition of land policy, the council of the corporation of the municipality of Central Elgin declare the following lands as surplus to the needs of the municipality to be sold via realtor services. First property is 218 Joseph Street, Port Stanley, Plan 49, part lots 2 and 3, East Side Joseph. The second property is 4980 Sunset Road, Port Stanley, registered plan 11R, access new fire hall lands at Greenwood.
Call the vote.
Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn. Yes. Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Next one.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Counselor Cravitz, that closed session item number 4 be received and that staff proceed as directed by council.
Call the vote.
Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Next one.
Last motion on the closed session items, moved by Counselor Fair, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that closed session item number 5 be received and that staff proceed as directed by council.
Call the vote.
Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Resolution carries.
Did we do the one for the minutes, closed session minutes? I didn't think we did.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's a procedural matter. I can explain afterwards if you'd like, but the in-camera minutes are encapsulated within the regular minutes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, our bylaw to confirm proceedings.
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Cravitz, second by Councillor Fair, that bylaw 2634 be read first and a second time.
Call the vote.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn.
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Resolution carries.
Next one.
Next motion on the bylaw, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Fair, that bylaw 2634 be read a third time and finally passed.
Call the vote.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn.
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Resolution carries.
And our final resolution.
Last motion, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Cravitz, that the regular meeting of council dated Monday, September 13th, 2021 be adjourned at 8:58 PM, and the next regular meeting of council be scheduled for Monday, September 27th, 2021 at 7 PM.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Cravitz.
Yes.
Councillor Cook.
Yes.
Councillor Fair.
Yes.
Councillor Wynn.
yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you.